Hi, good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
So let's wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thanks. We can start, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, hi all, good evening. Please let me know once I'll be audible to everyone. Can you please confirm in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I think we already talked about the syllabus and the topics that we are going to cover in this module, right? And we already talked about that what and all technology we are going to use in order to perform the labs, in order to perform like how companies are working, how their infrastructure they use to design, how their infrastructure is communicating with each other, right? So that all things we will going to cover, right? And also we are going to use the virtualization environment in order to perform our labs. Okay, so we have multiple hypervisor available in the market, right? So either we can use VMware, we can use Hyper-V, or we can use VirtualBox also, right? So first of all, after downloading this tool, so this tool will be available on the you can go to Google and you can just type download VMware. I think last time also we talked about, but let me tell you, if you want to download VMware, so you can just directly type download VMware workstation. Okay, so this workstation you have to download. So for now it comes up with a 30-day trial, right? But later on I will let you know how we can activate. Okay, so this is the tool that we will be using, right? So mostly I'm going to cover all the topics under VMware, but if you want, we can work on Hyper-V also. Okay, so this is the link to download. You have to go to download and then you will be able to download the VMware workstation. Okay, for now it will be valid for 30 days. Okay, but later on I will give you the activation key and then you can activate in your laptops. So this is the link I'm giving you in the chat.
एक्चुअली मैं VMware सर वर्कस्टेशन यूज कर रहा हूँ, तो उसी में सर हो जाएगा या इसको भी सर
कौन सा
डाउनलोड
यूज
करना
कर रहे हो?
पड़ेगा?
सॉरी,
VMware सर वर्कस्टेशन यूज कर रहा हूँ सर 17,
17. ओके,
बट सर वो प्रो वर्जन नहीं है, सिंपल है, तो उस पे लाइनक्स जैसे मैंने अभी कोर्स कंप्लीट किया है, तो वर्चुअल है ना मशीन है उस पे, तो उसी पे हो जाएगा सर या फिर?
हाँ आप प्रो वर्जन करो, आप इशू अब इंस्टॉल कर सकते हो, आप उसको प्रो वर्जन इंस्टॉल करो और लेटर ऑन मैं आपको की दे दूंगा, आप उसको एक्टिवेट कर लेना।
ठीक है सर।
ठीक है, okay, so this we have to download. Apart from this, we have to download some ISO images also, right? So every operating system has its own ISO image, right? And that is available on Microsoft website with the name of evaluation version. So what is evaluation version? Under that version, you will be able to use the operating system till 6 months. Till 6 months, it is not going to ask you for the activation. Okay, so you can go to Microsoft and or you can directly type here download ISO for server 2016. Okay, so you have to go to this evaluation center. Likewise, if you want to work on 2019, you can download the 2019 evaluation version, right? So go to Windows Server 2019 evaluation center and then you have to select the 64-bit edition ISO, right? You have to select ISO. Later on, how to download the VHD and how to activate it. So this also I will let you know. But for now, we are going to work with the ISO images, right? So this is the link to download the 2019 ISO image file. Then we will be needing Windows 10 also, client machine, so that what and all configuration we are making onto the server, we have to make sure that on the client machine, it should be applicable, right? If let's suppose I am making a DHCP server, right? So I have to make sure that my clients are getting the IP from my DHCP server. So in order to do that, we will be needing one client machine also, right? Or let's suppose you want to join a system onto your domain. Okay, you want to see whether the domain user is able to log in onto the system or not. So for that as well, we have to create one client machine. Okay, so again, you have to type download Windows 10 and again we will be needing evaluation version. Okay, and go to Windows 10. You can go with Windows 11 also. Okay, and for this also you have to select download ISO enterprise. Okay, so this link also is available in the chat. Okay, so once you are able to download all these softwares, so first of all the VMware and then the ISO image of 2019 server and the Windows 10 client, right? You have to make the virtual machine, you have to make the VMs, right? And that VMs can be created either on Hyper-V, either on VirtualBox, or you can do it on the VMware, right? So go to your VMware. And here you can see I have created multiple virtual machine. right? So for every virtual machine, I have to assign the RAM, I have to assign the processor, I have to assign the hard disk. Okay, so based on the configuration of your laptop, your desktops, you can assign the RAMs to your virtual machines, right? For now, I have 12 GB of RAM. Okay, so I have assigned 2 GB to the servers and 1 GB to the client machine. For our labs, for the labs we are going to perform, for that 2 GB RAM is more than enough, but in the production environment, in the real-time environment, it can be huge, right? So depending upon the configuration, depending upon the feature you are running onto the server, you have to assign the compute power to it. Right? And then you can make a new virtual machine. Go to file and you can select new virtual machine and go next. Select I will install the operating system later, and then again next. And then you can select the type of operating system you want to create. Right? So if you'll go to this drop down over there, you'll be able to get Windows 10, Windows 11, right? And then 22. So for now, the latest version of operating system, server operating system, is server 22. But still, it is not rolled out in the real-time environment. Still, companies are on 2016, and now they are moving up to 2019. Right? 2022 is not majorly used for now, but maybe in coming months you will be able to see 2022 version also in your organizations. Okay, so let's suppose I have downloaded the iOS image for 2016, so I'm going to select 2016. And likewise, you can create the Linux machines also here. If you want to create the Linux VM, you can just select Linux, and then version you can select which version you want to install. Okay, but I'm going with Microsoft Windows, and then I'm going to select server 2016 and then go next. So you can name your virtual machine as per your requirement, right? Let's suppose I'm giving it as server 4 because already I have server 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm making it as server 4. Okay, and the location of this VM is going to be C users and the user and then documents and then virtual machines and then server 4. Okay, but if you want, you can change your location also. Okay, so I'm just going with the default. I'm not going to change it. Then again next, then the firmware type, BIOS and UEFI. So we have to select UEFI here because see, if we are going to work on BIOS, we will be able to work on it. Why? Because see, if you are working in the production environment, right, then it should be UEFI, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. What it will do, it actually supports the hard disk which is more than 2 TB. The hard disk which is more than 2 TB, and in case of servers, the hard disk will be huge. Okay, so in that case, BIOS doesn't support the hard disk which is more than 2 TB. It can only supports the hard disk of 2 TB, not more than that. And as well, UEFI only works on 64-bit architecture. It only works on 64-bit architecture. Means if you want to install Windows 10 32-bit, you will not be able to use UEFI then. If you want to install server operating system that is of 32-bit, you will not be able to use UEFI because it doesn't support the 32-bit architecture. It only supports 64-bit. Okay, and then go next. And then the number of processor. For now, it doesn't matter for us. Okay, but once you are going to work in the production environment, or over there you have to define the core. It may possible that your processor will be of 16 core, 32 core, 10 cores. So from that cores, you have to define the cores are the basically you can say number of minds. Higher will be the number of minds, higher will be the processing power. As simple as that. Okay, so you can just select for now one is okay, and then go next. And then you have to assign the RAM also. RAM. If you have 32 GB RAM, then you can assign 4 GB also. Right? But as I told you, for our practicals, for all the labs we are going to perform, for that 2 GB is more than enough. We can just select it. Okay. And then go next. So this is the network connection. So over there, we have to select use host only networking. So what host only networking will do? It will isolate our VMs from outside world. Means if you want to communicate within these machines, you will be able to use if you are using host only networking. But if you want to communicate with my base machine, with my laptop, if you want to communicate this VM with my laptop, so in that case, I will not be able to. Because this is host only networking. In this case, I will be only be able to communicate within these VMs only. But if I want to communicate with others, so in that case, I have to play around with these two options: bridge networking or host address translation, network address translation. Okay, so later on I will let you know how we can use these options. Okay, for now I'm just going with use host only, and then again next. Next, so this is the hard disk type. If you are using SSD in your laptop, then in that case NVMe, it should be visible to you. Okay, if it is not, then then you have to select SATA. If you have normal SSD, then in that case you have to use SATA. Then go next. Next, and here 20 GB hard disk is more than enough. So we have to assign the hard disk size also. So from where we can assign it? From my base laptop, I can assign. From my base laptop, whatever the hard disk size is there, from that I can assign the size to my virtual disk. Okay. So select this option, store virtual disk as a single file, and then go next, then go next, and then finish. Okay. So after the creation of this VM, what you can do? So for now, we have not mounted the ISO image. Okay. So you have to go to again CD DVD, because at the time of creation, I have selected I will install the operating system later, right? So this is what I'm doing now. I need to mount the ISO image. So I will select use this ISO file, and I will browse, and I will select the location where actually I have the ISO image of server. Okay. So let's suppose I'm going with this one, and then open, and then okay, that's it. Right. And now let me first of all close all these. Now let me go to server 4, and I have to just power on this virtual machine. Okay, and I have to select any key. Okay, let's go next and install now. So this is how you will be able to create the virtual machine. And likewise, you can create as many as you want. but depending upon the configuration that you have in your desktop or in your laptops. Right? Then accept the license terms and then go next, and then custom and then go next. Right? So after this, guys, let's do a short, let's do a lab that how we can host a website or how we can make our website available for our customers. Right? So for that, we have to install the web server role, IAS role, and we will be needing one public IP also. See, if I want to access the website locally within these virtual machines, if these virtual machines are going to access my website, they will be able to access. But if I want that you also will be able to access the website, in that case, we will be needing public IP, and we will be needing one DNS domain also, domain name also. Right? So I have a sample website. Okay. And I am going to use Azure portal for that. Because see, in Azure also, you have to create the virtual machines. You have to create the virtual machines. You have to, uh, set up your web server, and then you have to install the role of IIS. So if you're doing the same on VMware, that is also fine. But the same thing, as we want to access it, and you guys also want to access the website, so in that case, I'm going to perform it on Azure, because on Azure, we will get the public IP. Right? This is just a demo session, Sahil, right? But I'm going to show you one lab for the web server, how to create a web server, how to host a website. Right? You guys are able to access Amazon.com. You guys are able to access Flipkart. So how actually it is happening? Somehow they are actually hosted on some servers. That is why we are able to access it. But how to make it possible? How to configure it from very scratch? So today that we are going to talk about. Okay, let it configure, right? And let me go to my browser, and I'm going to my Azure account. Okay. So even guys, if you want to perform some practicals on Azure also, so I'll be okay with that. Yes, Sahil, after this, let's discuss about your questions. Okay. We'll have a query. We'll have your queries. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to my Azure portal, and we are going to access a web server. We are going to create a web server. So first of all, let me tell you the agenda, that what we are actually performing now. So guys, what and all practicals we are going to perform? First of all, we'll understand it through the diagram, how it is actually working, how we are going to configure it, and then we are going to implement it on the real time. Okay. So first of all, what I need to do, I will be needing one web server. Okay. And let's suppose this is my web server, right? So over there, onto this web server, I'm going to host a website. And what I need to do, I have to first of all install the feature of IIS. Right? So after installing the feature, we will create our website. Right? And then the client machine, the users, will be able to access my website with their laptop. Let's suppose, just for example, I'm going to host a website called as www.abc.com, right? So what I will do is I need to just go to my laptop, right? And through my web browser, I will be able to access the website which I'm going to host here. I will send the HTTP request from port 80. If you want to work with port 443, then in that case, we have to get the certificates. Okay. So what I will do is I will send the request through port 80. And after sending this request, if a website is there, I will be able to view it on my machine. Likewise, multiple users will be able to access this website. Now these load balancing things, right? If let's suppose there are number of users are accessing my website, so in that case, how I can balance the load? So this is the later things, right? So we are going to perform this also. If let's suppose there is a load on server, then how our user will be able to access the website? So that is actually called as the high configuration of high availability of our website. Means if let's suppose this server is failed, if let's suppose there is a hardware failure onto this server, then still how the user will be able to access this abc.com? So what I can do for that, I can configure the high availability, or I can configure load balancing, network load balancing cluster, NLB. So these are the later things. We will understand the concept, why it is needed, right? Just for now, we are just going to perform a simple practical under which I'm going to host a website on a single server. I'm not configuring any high availability. I'm not configuring any network load balancing. I'm just going to configure a simple configuration, right? But later on, I will let you know how we can configure the NLBs, how we can make our website highly available in case if there is a failure with the hardware. So in that case also, how the users will be able to access my website. So we are going to talk it about later. Okay, so now let's go to the Azure portal. Just give me a moment. Okay, so this is my Azure account, right? And I need to go to virtual machines. Likewise, I have created the virtual machine in my VMware. Same thing I need to do here as well. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just select create. I will select Azure virtual machine. Right, and then I have to create a resource group. For now, I already have a resource group, but it is for my SCCM batch, so I'm not going to touch it. So I'm going to create a new resource group here. Let's suppose I'm creating a resource group with the name web server. Okay, then you can give the web server name. Let's suppose I'm naming it as the same web server 1. Okay, and this is the region where I can create my virtual machine. So I want to create it in India, Central India. I'm going to create. Yes, Sahil, I'll explain it. Okay, just wait for some time. And then availability option, I need to select no infrastructure. As I told you that I'm not going to configure any high availability, right? And even this is the concept of Azure. So this you will be able to understand it in the Azure batch. Okay. So now in the security type, I'm going to select it as standard and then image. Right. So as we downloaded the ISO image from Microsoft website, the same thing here also we have to select the image. Okay, go to this drop down and here you can select which kind of image you want to select. So in this case, I'm getting 2019 data center, right? If I want to choose 2022, 2016, see all the versions I'm getting. So now depending upon my requirement, I can select. Okay, so let's suppose I'm going with 2019 data center. See, it is a 64-bit architecture, right? So it only supports 64-bit. Now, see, now you have to select the size also, right? So under size, you will be able to get the one CPU, virtual CPU, and the RAM size. Okay, but if you want to expand, then you can go to see all sizes and you can select if you want 2 virtual CPU, if you want 8 GB of RAM, or if you want 16 GB of RAM, then you can it depends on your requirement and you can select it. Okay, so I'm just going with the basic one and then select. And now I have to give some username also. Okay, let's suppose I'm giving it as web user. Okay, and I have to give the password also. Now, so as we want to host a website, right, and we want the users will be able to access it, for that we have to allow the inbound port. So if you're not going to allow port 80, the users will not be able to send the request. The user will not be able to access your website. Okay, so you will go to this drop down and here you have to select HTTP. And in case you have the certificate, you can go with port number 443 also. What is the difference port 80 and 443? Anyone can explain?
Yes, sir. HTTP and HTTPS is secure because all the data is transferred in hash format or in a stored format.
Exactly. So in case of HTTP, the data is actually transferred in the plain text, right? But if you are using 443, the HTTPS, in that case, it is actually traveling in the secured form, in the encrypted form. Okay. Now I'm allowing HTTP port 80 and then go next. So here the operating system disk type. Okay. And if you want to change, you can change the size as well. Or if you want to add the extra hard disk, that is also we can do. But again, this is the concept of Azure. For now, for us, it is not needed at all. Then go next. And as I want to access this web server, right? So what I will do is I have to give a public IP to it, right? So go to create new and select basic. And we are going with the static one, basic and static one. If I'm going to select standard, in that case, Azure will going to charge a huge amount from me. Okay, so that is why I'm just going with the basic and the static one, and then okay. Right now, just review and create. So this is the amount that Microsoft is going to charge from me, and then create. Right, and let me see, I have a sample website. Let me see where it is. It is something called Covido. Yeah. This one. This is a simple website, right? I'm not a developer, but I have downloaded this from the internet. So likewise, you can download it from the internet, any of the format, HTML or Python, whatever you want to select, you can go with it. Okay. So these templates are freely available onto the website. You can just directly go to the Google and you can download the templates. Okay, let me go back to that machine. And this server 4 is also ready, right? So you have to give the super memorable password, and then you can finish the installation. That's it. Your server is ready, right? This is VMware, guys, not Azure. Okay. Yeah, so this is your VMware machine that we created, and it is done. Okay. And now let me go back to my Azure account, and I'll go to this resource. And now I need to take this system on remote. How I can connect with this system, right? What I need to do, I need to either I can go to this public IP and I can directly RDP to it, MSTSC, right? And you can give this public IP and then you can connect directly. Okay. Or what you can do, you can download the RDP file also. See, connect and you can download the RDP file. So this is the RDP file, right? And you can run it directly and connect, right? So we selected the user as web server. Oh, sorry, web user, right? And the password will be, and see, we are able to connect the system on remote. Even you guys also will be able to connect this server, right? Because this is configured with the public IP, and for now it is allowed for everyone, right? But later on, if I want that you will not be able to connect, only I will be able to, so that this is also a security concept. So this we can discuss in the Azure. Okay. Now I need to install the feature of IIS, that is Internet Information Services, in order to make a web server. So it is highly recommended, or it is recommended only, that without IIS we will not be able to make a web server. Okay. So let the console will open and then I will install the feature. So I'll just give me 2 minutes, right? Let it install, and then you can just unmute yourself and you can ask your queries. Go to add roles and features, go next, next. The same console, guys, we will be able to get on VMware also. Okay, there is no difference. So go next. So these are the server roles that we can install. And in our labs, so we are going to cover mostly all of them. Okay, so for now, I am going with the web server IIS add feature, and then go next, next. So whatever the dependencies will be there, in order to make the server as a web server, it will auto select, right? No need to make any changes. Just directly go next, 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 restart if needed, and then install. Okay, now let it install, and Sahil, you can ask your queries. You can unmute yourself. So first of all, in case of Azure, no need to download, right? But how to download it in, if you're using Hyper-V or VMware? So I already pinged the links, the URLs in the chat.
Sir, I am using VM workstation and I have already installed um, actually, I'm using VMware Workstation Pro, and I have
Okay.
already installed three
Huh.
Windows servers. One is Windows 7, one is
Okay.
Windows Server to 2019, and one is ADC.
Okay.
Actually, uh, before this session, I took 2 to 3 classes. So due to some timing issues, I didn't continue.
Okay.
So I know a little bit about these servers.
Okay. 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 So do you have any
I
query?
just want to know about Azure. What is it similar to VMware Workstation, or is it different? Uh, I'm
So
not.
Azure, you can say Azure is a data center. Microsoft Azure
Okay.
is a data center where actually number of servers are there, and you are taking that servers on rent.
Okay.
Okay,
So we
and
need to.
Microsoft is going to take care of all the of all the your power connectivity, internet connectivity, high availability. So all these things will be managed by the Microsoft. You are just paying the X amount to the Microsoft, and Microsoft is actually making your servers available for you and your clients.
Okay. So right now we just only work on VMware.
Exactly. So we are just going to work on VMware for MCSA. VMware is more than enough. But as I told you initially, that to host a website, and if I want the website will be available for you guys also, so we have to we will be needing one public static IP,
Okay.
right? And in case of VMware, it is not possible to get. I have to connect my ISP, then only I can get a public static IP. Okay, but to show you, but I want you guys will be able to access my website. So that is why I'm performing this lab on Azure.
So one more question, please.
Yes, please.
I want a little suggestions for me
Huh.
from you.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not a, technical guy. My study is not from any technical like BTech or
Background. Okay.
BCA.
Hmm.
So I just did the Bachelor of Arts.
Okay.
But I want to pursue my career in IT sector.
IT.
So
Hmm.
could you please suggest me some um, other things like so that I can uh, deeply understand this concept without any taking so much burden on my mind.
Okay. So for now, I can understand your situation. No worries. So
Yeah.
for this is just a demo session, right? So once
Yeah.
I'll start my classes,
Okay.
right, I'll be explaining each and every topic in a very, in a very easy language, right? And I
Okay.
will take care of you, right?
Okay.
And I'll make my explanation in a way that you also will be able to understand.
Okay. My concern is only that I really want to learn.
Hmm.
Due to non-technical background, I feel a
Don't
little
worry.
hesitation.
Don't worry
Like
at all. Don't worry
maybe
at all.
so.
BA and BCom persons are developers,
Okay.
right? So need not to worry about it.
Okay.
This is just a very basic thing, right? And I will try to explain it in a way that you will be able to easily understand the things. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So now I install the IIS feature onto the server, right? And now I have to make my website, right? So whenever I used to install IIS onto the server, right, there would be a folder is going to be created under your C, inet pub, and www root. This is actually the path where actually you can place your web pages, where actually you can place your website, right? For now, a default website is there. And how it looks like, it will be like this. It will be like this. Just try to access, go to your web browser, and I'll give you, I will give you an IP. Try to access that IP. Just give me a moment. Okay. So I pinged in the chat, right? Go and try to access this IP on your web browser. Are you guys able to access it? Can you see Internet Information Services page? Everyone, let me show you. Can you see this page? Or even the people who are watching it on YouTube, try to access this public IP on your web browsers.
I will see that in internet information.
You can see that, right? So why it is so? Because it is a default website. So whenever we install the IIS feature onto the server, so this will be the default page, but we don't want to access it. We want to create our own website, right? So in order to do that, let me go back to my server. And first of all, let me copy this covido.html and I'll go to my server and I'm going to place this folder under www root. So whatever the page is, everything is available in this folder, right? Maybe 7 or 8 pages are there in this website. So all the pages are available in this folder. If you're going to open it, covido-html, so these are the pages. Fonts, icons, CSS, images. These are the images you will be able to see. Right? Now just close it and go to tools and then select Internet Information Service Manager. Select this option and then expand this web server 1 and expand the sites. So this is the default website, guys, that you are able to see now in your laptops, but we don't want to see this. So what I will do is, let me delete the default one. Let me remove the default one. And now I want to add my own. So I'll go to sites, I'll right click on it and I'll select add a website. Right now, site name, right? Let's suppose its name, I'm giving it as Covido. Right now, the physical path where actually my website, where actually the pages of my website is available. Right. So I'll go to these 3 dots and I'll select the path, and the path will be C www root, sorry, inetpub www root, and I'll select this covido-html and then OK. Okay, and then OK. Now try to access the same IP. Now try to access the same IP. Let me go to my laptop also. I'll see whether I'm able to access it or not.
Sir, what should I do after searching it on web?
Just enter the IP, that's it.
I entered.
Sir, welcoming sir.
Are you able to get welcome page?
Yes, sir.
So this is what we want. What was the IP? Sorry, let me go to chat.
20 to 20 dot to
Okay, got it.
219.1.
Got it. So this is actually your websites, what and all website you are able to access on your laptops. So this is the process how you can configure it. Later on, security part, load balancing part, this is some different thing. Okay, why I'm not able to access it? Just a second.
No, sir, the IP address is
Sir, IP
different.
is
Ah,
not
it is different.
right.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
20.219.188.161.
See, I'm able to get the home page now.
Sir,
But
but we
this
have
you can,
different one.
What different one?
We have like Windows Server, Internet Information Service.
No,
There is
try to
separate
refresh it. Refresh it again. Refresh it.
COVID.
Got
Okay,
it?
okay, okay, got it, sir.
So these are the web pages, guys. This is the website. Now you are able to access it through IP, but Flipkart and all. So how you used to access with name, right?
Yes.
So how we can access with name? So for that, we will be needing some DNS. We will be needing one. We should have the owner of a domain. Then only we can access this IP, this website with the name. Okay. So I already have a domain. Let me show you, and you guys will be able to access it with name as well. Okay, but not with the COVID domain name. I have a different one, right? But I'll show you the process how we can do it. Okay, but if you want the COVID domain only, then in that case you have to go to any of the DNS partner. Maybe you can go to Hostinger or you can go to GoDaddy. Over there you can see if the domain name is available. You can just be the owner of that domain. As simple as that. Okay, so I have already a domain. Okay, that is traineraz.co.in. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one host entry here. Now what is DNS server, what are host entry, what is IPv4, what is single A entry, what is quad A entry, right? So this we will discuss about in the DNS topic. Okay, so for now, again, I'll go to the domain and then manage DNS. And I'll select add a new recode, and I'll select single A. Single A is basically for IPv4. If you want to tag a IPv4 IP, then in that case you have to create a recode. Okay, and the name, let's suppose I'm giving it as www, and the IP I'm going to tag that public IP with it. Okay, and now save. Now try to access it with, let me give you the link, let me give you the name through which you will be able to access it. www.traineraz.co.in. Try to access this web link, and even let me try also. Guys, I'm able to resolve my query. I'm able to access it with the name as well. Let me know if you all are able to access or not. The YouTube peoples also, you can try it, right? Hardeep, Sahil, are you able to access
Yes, sir.
with name as well, right? So how
Yes,
actually
sir.
our queries is getting resolved from IP to name and name to IP? This is all because of DNS server. And we are going to learn DNS as well, how DNS actually works, how our queries getting resolved from name to IP and IP to name. Earlier we were accessing the website with the IP, but now you can see we are able to access it with name. How come so? This is all because of DNS server. This is all because in the background, our query is getting resolved and we are able to access of the website with the name as well. Okay, so this is how we can make a web server. Then later on, we will talk
Sir,
about, yes,
it,
please, Sahil.
I'm not getting the same page.
Which page you are getting?
It is something like GoDaddy.
No, it should not be.
Yes, sir. Trainer dot trainer.
www.traineraz.co.in.
I have to write full. www dot trainer
I pinged the link in
az
the chat. Try to copy it and try to
dot
access it.
co dot
If all are able to access, you should be able to. Even if
yes,
me,
sir.
I'm
Done, sir.
also able to access.
Done, sir. Done, sir. Done.
Done now?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Now, Sahil, how actually it is getting, how actually we are able to access it with the name. So this I will explain in the DNS topic. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So no
Okay,
need to
sir.
confuse that how it is happening and all. So this I will explain in a very easy language so that you will be able to understand the concept. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So later on, this is just a normal web server we have configured, right? We have not configured any high availability role. We have not configured the network load balancing, right? Because see, as you can see, whenever any big billion sales comes, right? So at that time, the server of the Amazon, it may possible that it will not able to respond. But nowadays it is not actually happening. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years back, right? So at that time, if any of the sales comes, so at that time, the users are not able to access the website. Why? Because the load is getting actually, the server is actually getting overloaded, right? But now we have multiple things available, right? We can configure high availability. We can configure in, if you are talking about Azure, we can configure VMSS, that is virtual machine scale set. What it will do, if let's suppose if a server is getting overloaded, it will keep creating a new virtual machine until or unless the load will not get balanced. Okay, so in cloud we have, you can see on Hotstar also. So whenever any match is there, whenever any India or Pakistan match is there, so around 2 to 3 crores people were matching the match, or they used to watch the match on Hotstar. So how actually Hotstar is actually managing the huge traffic, the 3 crores or 4 crores of request, how actually Hotstar is actually how Hotstar is making the website, the match highly available for all the users. So this is all because of the load balancing. This is all because of the high availability. This is all because of the virtual machine skill set, VMSS. So there are number of options that we can configure, right? And then based on our requirement, based on our management, we can just configure and we can in place the configuration. Okay. So we are going to cover a number of topics in this MCSA module: Active Directory, DNS server, DHCP server, DHCP failover, network load balancing, VPN, right? File server, failover file servers. Let me open that Excel sheet again. Okay, just a second, guys. Guys, please do not annotate. Okay, so these are the topics again I'm showing you that we are going to cover in this module. Okay, introduction of MCSA and VMs, this already we discussed about, and then type of domain controllers: primary domain, additional domain, child domain, and read-only domain controller, and then Active Directory, then domain and OU delegation, and then RSET, then group policies, then Active Directory Administrative Center, then DHCP failover, DHCP relay agent, FTP web server that we performed today. Okay, and now how to make our website highly available? In that case, we have to configure the network load balancing cluster. Okay, and then profiles, folder redirection, type of trust, NAT, network address translation basically, and then file and print management, how you can make a print server. Okay, and then VPN with NPS, VPN with radius server, remote desktop services, data deduplication, BitLocker, FSRM, storage, FSMO roles, shadow copies, DFS, replication and namespace, WSUS. So it is also a main topic, WSUS. This is basically used in the patching to make your infrastructure up to date. What we can do, we can configure a central WSUS server, and from there we can deploy the patches to in the infrastructure. Okay, and then FSMO roles, seize and transfer, AD migration and upgradation, and then ADFS federation services, then backup, WDS. So WDS is basically a topic under which you will be able to install the operating system through network, right? So if you are doing the WDS, in that case, no need to install the OS through your bootable media. Okay, directly we can install it through the network. Okay, and then RAID configuration. This is basically used in the file servers. Okay, or you can, if you are working as a storage engineer, in that case you have to work with the, you have to deal with the RAID. Okay, and then nano server, then AD sites and services, IFM, install from media, IPAM, failover and file server on Hyper-V, and then DNS, and then forest and domain function level, and then certificates, Active Directory certificate services, then an IC teaming, and the last one is PowerShell. So these all 45 topics, around these 45 topics we are going to cover in this whole module, and it is totally based on industry scenarios. It is totally based on the companies, how the companies used to build their infrastructure. So depending upon my previous experiences, I am going to share, or I am going to teach you based on that only. Okay, so now if you have any query, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Sir, I am coming from the diploma. Sir. I'll work on as a desktop support engineer.
Okay.
I did not know about the MCSA. I already joined the weekend class. That 3-4 topics will gone. That's why I'll join the today's.
Okay, you are in my weekend batch.
Yes, sir.
You were in my weekend batch. Okay.
I will attend 2 classes that will not understand proper lesson. That's
Okay.
why once again I will join the rejoin.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. So you are working as a desktop support, right? So
yes,
this is a, you know, this is basically an add-on to your technology. So in your current organization, if you are going to work all on these topics, you can ask, you can tell your manager that I'm already aware of all these topics. So maybe internally you will get the role of system administration also, and you can get a good hike also. Okay. And after completing all this, which main thing would I focus for job? So yes, so even guys, after once we'll complete all the topics, I'll be sharing the interview questions also. Around I'll share 50 interview questions. Just practice it, right? Prepare yourself, and definitely you will be able to crack the interview also. And the jobs you will be able to get, like system administrator, systems engineer, Windows administrator, or if you are well versed with the cloud technology, you can get the, see, if you have to learn cloud, then in that case also this MCSA is the base. If you have a good knowledge, if you have a hands-on experience on servers, then it will be easy for you to understand the cloud also. So it is just a base for you all, right? And then later on you can go for cloud, right? And if you are able to grab the knowledge of cloud as well, so you can even get a good package, right? And you can basically go for further growth. You can get into DevOps, you can get into cloud security engineer. So this is the multiple profiles that you can pitch into, but for now we have to focus on first of all servers, and then later on you can go with any of the cloud technology. Either you can go for Azure or you can go for AWS. It totally depends on your requirement. Okay, that's great then, Sahil. It would be a great combo for you if you have already Azure, if you have already enrolled for the Azure. So this is going to be a great combo for you.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Actually, मेरी currently भी job लगी है junior network support engineer की.
Okay.
तो मेरा ट्रेनिंग सेशन चल रहा है, तो उसमें सर मेरा थर्ड डे है वैसे आज वहाँ पर जॉब पे. तो उन्होंने कहा कि डीएनएस रिकॉर्ड्स पर उनका काफी वर्क है.
Very
जैसे
good.
सर आपने बताया 4 टाइम ए सर और सी नेम, तो मतलब
CNAME.
काफी ऐसे है ना. जी
Exactly.
जी. तो जितने भी सर ये डीएनएस रिकॉर्ड्स जो सर्वर है उन पर सारा वो कहते हैं उनका काम है, तो उनको काफी अच्छे थे उसमें वो सारे सब कवर करेंगे.
Don't worry, I'll be covering all the things. Let me show you the PPT. So also what and all topics we are going to cover, I have the PPT for all. Okay. And I'm going to share that PPT with you all. Okay. So see, this is what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. Mail exchange.
DNS records.
Yes, sir.
Don't worry, I'll be explaining each and every.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Also, you have to create the WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, later on I'll create the WhatsApp group tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, even I'll create a Google Classroom also. So over there you will be able to get all the interview questions, all the PPTs, and all the study materials regarding to this topic, this MCS. Okay. And then later on, if you are going with Azure, so maybe the Azure trainer will provide you the study material for Azure also.
Sir, we have classes on weekdays only,
On weekdays, 8
or
o'clock,
8 to 8
8 to
8
10.
so 8 to 10.
Yes.
Okay, 2 hours daily.
One and a
how
half hour.
long
One
it
and a
will
half.
take to
1.5
complete
hour.
all this? How
It will take around 1.5 month.
1.5 month? Okay.
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 Okay. So let's wrap up the today's session, right? And maybe we'll be meeting tomorrow, or if it is not tomorrow, then we'll going to connect on coming Monday, right? 26th. So you'll get the notification if there will be class on tomorrow. So you will get the notification and we can connect tomorrow itself. But if it is not there, then definitely it will be on 26th. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Night,
then.
sir.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.